A very good morning and welcome to our Legal Tuesday, a day that we focus on legal matters on MBCI TV, the mid-morning pack. And I believe for the series of programs we have been having for the last 2-3 months ago, it is bringing news to more light on the legal matters. How has been your morning? I hope fine. Mine is good. And welcome to our program. Today we are talking about the land and property law. If you have any issue regarding to land, we are here today with Wakili, who is going to help us to put a heavy perspective on this matter. And therefore, if you have any query that you want to ask us this morning regarding to land, today we are dealing with land, you can text us via 23814. 23814 is our SMS number. WhatsApp number 0721 105 105, 0721 105 105, asking any question regarding to land. And today we are asking you one very question. Where do you think we need rapid land reforms? Where do you think we need rapid land reforms? Is our question today on 23814 or 0721 105 105. As usual, I have my colleague here, Mangicho Mola. Mangicho, good morning. How are you?
A very good morning to you, Bwana Paul Kagi, and it's good to have you once again on this platform for the mid-morning pack on Legal Tuesday.
Yes.
Hoping you're also having a great week.
Good. How is your morning taking you so far?
My morning is awesome, and I'm really excited about this particular conversation today, land and property laws, because we've also been hearing and watching news across different channels, and we are always told, or there is this expression that is very common in Kenya, that land is an emotive issue.
Yeah.
Land is an emotive issue. So I believe that this is going to be a subject that is really going to be of major and significant or major significance to our audience, to our viewer out there. Maybe you have a challenge when it comes to the land that you are having, the land that you want to buy, the land that maybe you even bought some years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and maybe there are issues pertaining to that particular land. There are those who are also claiming that they are the legal owners of that particular land. So this is why this particular conversation is very important, and I believe we shall have sufficient time to shed the light so that our viewer can make right decisions.
Right. As we continue, just to mention you before we are able to look at our clip regarding to this topic, today I have prepared for you inside law on maybe the procedure or process of buying land in Kenya. And therefore, stay tuned. You can be able to understand which is the procedure, what is the process of buying land in Kenya. I have prepared for you a very elaborate way whereby you can be able to do that. Before we look at the clip, just remind you our question today. Where do you think we need rapid land reforms? Where do you think we need rapid land reforms in Kenya? Text us. 23814 is our SMS number, or 0721 105 105. Or if you have any question to Wakili today, who is in the studio, you can also do the texting. Once again, my name is Paul Kagi. Don't go too far. Here is a clip. Before we continue, regarding to the land issues, I believe that you know in Kenya, if there is an issue which is troubling many Kenyans today, is when to acquire land, how to acquire land, and maybe you acquire land which you came to realize it has multiple owners, right? Or maybe you come to find that the land that you owe for many years is owned by another person and is making some development on the land.
Yeah, it's a major issue that has actually affected Kenyans of various backgrounds, and Kenyans of different calibers. And this is something we actually have so many cases also in court pertaining to land ownership. Some Kenyans have been duped so many times when it came to buying land, only for you to realize that you bought land that had already been sold to another person. And you know, Kagi, this is also a very, very sensitive issue, because again, when you're talking about the issue of land, you know that it's also an expensive investment. So when you buy land only for you to be told that you are not the valid owner, you are not the legal owner, you can imagine the kind of emotional damage, the kind of emotional torture it does to some of these victims. That's why it is important for people to know. That's why it is important. And maybe we'll also want to find out even from Wakili, maybe where are the missing links? Because again, when it comes to the issue of title deed, how comes that we can have someone saying that I have an original title deed and another person also saying that I have another original title deed? How comes we can have two original title deeds? These are some of the things. So we will want also to find out and maybe to give some focus on where the missing links could be, so that at least our viewer, the Kenyan citizen, can be in a position to know and be in a position maybe to do the homework, the assignment that they need to do, even before they come to do the necessary action, or actually to undertake the very, very important action of maybe purchasing land and so on and so forth. Okay,
we can welcome Wakili in the studio. Wakili, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Good morning, Wakili.
Yeah,
good to have you. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
How has been your week?
So far, so good. Yeah.
You know, today we're experiencing a sunny day for a long time. Yesterday, at least we can be able to bask around and enjoy.
Exactly.
You know, this morning it was reminding me of guys who live in some countries who don't even experience sun for many months. When they get a chance, it's like a gold on their hands. Before we continue, let us watch this clip, which is going to open an eye regarding the topic of the day.
Hey, Baba.
Yes, sir.
Nimenunua ploti, nimenunua mali fulani hapa chini.
Yes.
Ngoja kwanza.
Ngoja mzee.
Ngoja.
Wewe ndio
Tumeingia kwa hiyo
Naomba tuongee moja.
Ngoja mimi ndio naongea.
Mimi nimetangulia kuingia kwa hiyo ofisi.
Mzee tafadhali, sio heshima, ni heshima. Ni heshima.
Tafadhali naomba mheshimu ya ofisi.
Sawa. Sasa ongea.
Afisa. Mjambo lakini.
Jambo baba.
Mimi naitwa Mutito Nikamtai.
Yes sir.
Tumetembea kwa ofisi yako.
Karibu sana.
Ikiwa nimeandamana na huyu msemo hapa.
Karibu.
Kuna kakiti yangu nimenunua bahari.
Yeah.
Nataka kuweka kanyumba yangu nzuri ile ya kwenda retire.
Yeah.
Alafu nimeenda hapo na peleka watu waende kuweka fence, napata mzee ameweka mawe hapo, yeye anataka kuanza kujenga nyumba kwangu.
Yes.
Sasa mimi kuuliza yeye anasema ni yeye ni kwake.
Hiyo nafasi ni bwana ofisa.
Plot ulinunua nini?
Nilinunua kitambo. Iko mwaka na kitu imeisha sasa.
Okay. Na umesema umekuta mzee amemwaga mchanga.
Nimekuta mzee amemwaga.
Sasa mimi plot ni yangu mzee.
Plot ni yako.
Plot ni yangu. Tulienda na surveyor.
Yes.
Tukaangalia pale mahali. Kanipeleka kwa search and nilipeleka tukaangalia na tukaona plot na mtu nikaona ni yangu. Sasa akaniuzia mimi. Nikaenda pale na mke wangu nikamwesha mtoto wangu. Tukaona ile plot. Yes. Sasa mimi amenikuta nimemwaga mawe nataka kujenga, anaanza kuniambia plot ni yake, nishune vipi hivyo?
Wewe already umemwaga mawe.
Shamwaga mawe tayari mimi.
Wewe ulinunua plot nini?
Mimi nina miezi 7.
Miezi 7
kabisa.
Niko na title deeds za hizo plots.
Mimi niko naye. Yangu original iko hapa.
Mzee wewe pia uko naye.
Yangu iko hapa mzee. Tena urige.
Niko hata imeandikwa cheni. Imeandikwa cheni na mkiangalia.
Angalia yangu pia.
Okay, nimeona nyinyi wote mko na title deeds.
Yeah.
Si mbaya lakini tuko na msemo kweli.
So ni title.
Msemo kweli iko. Sasa usijali kama ni title,
wacha tu yeye ile map yeye alitumia kwenda kufanya na survey hapo kuweka beacons hapo. Hana hiyo map. Yeye hapana map.
Wewe ulikuwa kunyonyesha toa
hapo kwanza na surveyors walitoka hapo kwa ofisi yetu.
Mimi nilipata na surveyor kule ambapo tulienda nao pale, wakaonyesha ploti, tukapima na ikaita mke wangu na watoto wangu wakaona mahali na pakamfurahisha.
So msipigane kwa sababu wacha tuangalie kwa system kama hizi title deeds ni za ukweli.
Sawa.
Juu hapa mmekuja kwa ofisi nzuri.
Kwanza namba ya hiyo title inafanana.
Wacha niangalie because confirm hizi zote hapa ndio nitawaambia ukweli sasa. Mtanipea tu dakika kidogo tu niangalie kwa system. Alafu niwaambie ukweli.
My friend asikia nakwambia hivi.
Msipigane
kwa sababu hapa mimi plot ni yangu. Milioni ngapi? Angalia ofisa. Milioni 3.
Milioni 3.
Milioni 300. Mawe ni maboga road 7.
Mimi naandikia wewe trespass.
Wewe mzee tafadhali. Mimi tafadhali sikoje tukosane kwa ofisi mzee.
Okay, nimewapata.
Milioni 3 na lori 7. Yes.
Sasa nimestuka.
Kwa nini?
Chenye nimepata hapa na vitu zenyu venye nikuziko hapa
Ni yangu.
hiyo land si yenyu.
Ati nini?
Nyinyi wote.
Hapana hapa
Nyinyi
kuna
wote
maneno.
mlichezewa. Kama unafikiria ni nasema uongo, angalia kwa system baba.
Ati?
Hizi nyinyi wote mlichezwa.
Hapana, haiwezekani.
Angalia.
Title yangu ndio wapi hiyo namba
Yako ndio hii mzee. Yako ndio hii.
Hapana, mimi bado kucha yangu hivi.
Yako ndio hiyo. Sasa angalieni kwa system.
Oh,
Angalieni kwa system.
oh, you know.
Wewe unasema nini?
Nyinyi wote mmechezwa. Ndio hii.
Hapana.
Mwenye hiyo title deed ni Samuel Kariuki.
Na hii ni ya Serenta.
Wewe.
Ore sururu.
Mzee wangu hebu angalia hebu yako.
Nyinyi wote mmechezwa pole.
Oi mzee.
Sereta ore sururu.
So
You know boy.
Sereta
Karate asiadie.
Ngongi.
Aje ndo milioni 3.
poleni sana kwa hayo kwa sababu hamkufuata procedure. Kama mngefuata procedure mngekuwa kwa ofisi.
Ati
Hamkufuata procedure baba.
ati unasema procedure? Procedure nani ya procedure?
Wacheni kuenda kwa brokers mzee.
Hii mtu anaruhusia mimi samba.
Fuateni procedure.
Ananiambia mimi ni yake.
Fuateni
Yeye ndiye
procedure.
mwenye hiyo samba. Alipata kwa baba yake.
Sikia mzee, tukikuja hapa tumetoka mbali.
Yes sir.
Na wenye kutuzia shamba mimi mwenye kuniuzia. Mimi si mjui huyu mzee.
Yes.
Mimi tunakutana na mzee kwa shamba yangu.
Kwa shamba yako.
Tukaanza
Kwa saa hii si yako kwa sababu nyinyi wote mmeibiwa.
Pesa yangu itarudi.
Sasa hiyo itabidi muende kotini.
kwa dini.
Wewe nani alipea wewe yako?
Mimi nilipata na
mwende
huyo
kotini.
mtu mwenye aliniuzia shamba.
Huyo anaitwa
Keguyu. Keguyu ndiye aliniuzia.
Fuateni procedure mzuri ya kununua land mzee. So hiyo ingine wacheni la.
Bwana, unajua jinsi unasema wewe? Procedure ya koja, procedure ya milioni 3 wewe. Mzee, hii mashine yako inafanya kazi kwa wewe. Unajua milioni 3 ni nini wewe?
Nimeangalia.
Milioni 3 unajua nini wewe?
Najua inaumia lakini wewe uliibiwa.
My friend,
mimi hata risiti niko nayo.
Yes.
Hata iko kitu tuliandikiana, alafu nikalete mke wangu, nikalete yule ndio yangu mkubwa wakaweka kitole yao hapo. Wao pia ni masaidi. Nitaleta hao.
mzee.
Nitaleta hao.
Endeni kwa lawyer alafu lawyer itawasaidia.
Sasa tumekuja kwako tu ndio tutatusaidia.
Mimi
Sisi kuna mali kile tunajua. Umetuambia mimi shamba si yangu.
Yes.
Mwambie
Si yake. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni ya mwenyewe Samuel Kamau. Hapa imeandikwa.
Kegunya usia yake?
Hapana.
Ama tuende hivi. Tujenge sote hapa Samuel kama akuja kuuliza sisi.
Mke wangu anajua plot yangu my friend. Mimi sikujui.
Hata mimi.
Hebu sikia my friend. Mimi tumekutana na wewe kwa plot. Wewe mzee? Mimi ni milioni ngapi?
Milioni 3.
All right. Quite interesting. You know, if I could follow that story, I was really feeling, my heart was really beating hard. Just to be able to imagine one of them is the owner of the land. And the more shock came when we realized that both of them are the not owners of the land.
Yes. And this is actually reflecting what is actually happening on the ground.
Yes.
A true reflection of what Kenyans are going through. And you can imagine and you can actually see the kind of shock, the kind of disappointment coming to the victims.
Can you imagine?
Especially the man who is actually even going to the extent of now beginning to speak in mother tongue. Just maybe to signify how horrific, how weighty this particular matter is. Because it's like someone is just reaching a situation whereby they are thinking, so what next? After you're telling me I've lost this. 3
million shillings. You have just lost.
Yes.
And you don't know where to start, where to go. And maybe that money you had borrowed from the bank.
Right.
Or maybe it was you were saving. Or maybe it was your pension.
Yes.
Yeah? So, Wakili, I don't know what's your take on the clip.
What I got is that these two gentlemen went to, I think it looks like a land office. They went to see the land registrar so that they confirm who is the rightful owner of the property in question. Both of them had titles, and the land registrar was able to check from the system, and tell that both of them were not the owners of the property. And he advised them to go and seek redress elsewhere, maybe in courts. What happens in these kind of situations, we have brokers who make fake title deeds. They conspire with some people in the lands registry so that if they tell you go do a search, you can actually go do a search and you will be given a search and you think it is genuine, but that whole transaction is pre-arranged. So you get a search, go get into a sales agreement, and you're given a title deed. You think it is genuine, only to discover that that title deed is fake. And what most of these fraudsters do is that they normally scout around and see land which is vacant. And they actually go do a search and find out who the real owner is. Once they do that, they find out where you are. Maybe you are abroad, maybe you are deceased. Some of them go to the extent of making an identity card, because once you go to the land office, somebody is able to find out your ID card number. So the person who is buying the property will look at the title deed and look at the ID, they tally. But the picture of the person on the ID is totally different. That is why you will have some situations where the genuine owner will now come and say, this is my original title. I am alive. I never died. And I've never sold my property. Only to be surprised to be shown some transfer forms saying, no, you sold this property some time back. But when you when you scrutinize those documents, you realize that yes, the ID is mine, even place of birth, but the picture is not mine. That is when the buyer realizes that you have been conned. What you normally need to do is what we call a due diligence. When you are buying a property, you need to go beyond the paper title, find out the history of this land. How did the first owner get it? Was the process of acquiring it proper? If it was an allocation, was it a proper allocation?
And how can you get that history? Is it accessible?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Where?
From the lands office.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Even from neighbors. Yeah. Before you purchase property, talk to the neighbors. I'm purchasing this property. What is the history of the land around this area?
Yeah.
You know, like here in Nakuru, talk about a place like Teachers. Those plots in Teachers have a history. They were purchased from some person who then transferred it to the Teachers Circle, and the Circle now allocated members. So you can follow that history. So if you want to buy land around Teachers, you can actually go back to the cooperative society. They will tell you, we bought 10,000 acres or 5,000 acres from the original owner. The documents are here. These properties were subdivided into so many plots, and we have the original register of the persons who were allocated that property. If there was any sale of shares before the titles were issued, that again would reflect on the register of that particular land buying company or society.
And that's quite compelling, Wakili, because we have very common scenarios,
yes,
like the one that you're talking about in the country. So when you have a case whereby you are not buying land from the original owner, maybe it has that kind of ownership that has actually been kind of success ownership from one person to another. So what is the matrix? How does it make it complicated?
It makes it complicated because you need to find out the history. The most common cases I've seen is where, let me use the example of succession. My father passed away.
Right.
I know I am entitled to a share of that property. So I decided before we go through the process of succession, I am purchasing my portion. I'm selling part of my portion. Some people go ahead and enter into sale agreements on property which does not belong to them. Like now, I would be selling a portion of a property which belongs to my father, but I actually do not have a title to that property. Those instances become very, very tricky.
So in that situation, the person who is buying does not necessarily get a title, or does not necessarily...
No, you don't. You don't get a title. Because when somebody has passed away, you have to go through the process of succession, determine the number of beneficiaries, and determine the share of each beneficiary. So, in most cases, people have actually lost land where you are told you sold property before the grant was given, before the grant was confirmed. So that sale is null and void. So that leaves you in a quagmire. You have to find a way of getting your money back.
I'm trying to think, because you have talked about titles and what is coming in our clip there.
Yeah.
Could there be different types of titles maybe, or categories or something?
Yes, we have the two broad main categories we have are freehold and leasehold. Let me begin with leasehold. Leasehold, this is land which either belongs to the government or the county government. And then you lease, you're given a lease for a particular period. Originally, we had leases running up to 999 years. But now when you subdivide that land and you're given new leases, the period is reduced to 99 years. So that is leasehold. And you pay the government a specific rent, what we call annual rent. It's like you are leasing that property from the government. Then,
so they are mainly owned by the government.
Yeah,
so you're talking like land, for example, also owned by Kenya Railways?
Kenya Railways.
Those are parastatals?
They have titles.
Okay.
Those ones, some of them have been given titles. Yeah.
But if you are leased by maybe KRA or maybe the pipeline, you can only be given a lease of 99 years maximum. Do you have a... Oh, that's the limit. You can be given a lease, 99 years.
That is lease from the government.
Leased?
Lease.
Oh,
lease. It is a lease from the government. It's a lease for 99 years.
So that is the maximum?
Yes.
So you can take like 50, 30 years?
No. They normally give you 99 years. Okay. Yeah.
And then you pay annually?
You pay annually. Yes.
Okay.
When your lease expired, you or your family, you are given priority to apply for renewal of the lease. If you do not, that land reverts back to the government, and the government can allocate it to somebody else. I don't know whether you've been following up the case of
Memorial
Nakuru War Memorial.
Yes.
The story behind it is that the persons who had been given the original lease, the lease expired, and they did not apply
for renewal.
And that is how the county government took it over. But anyway, the case is in court. Let's not comment too much about it. Yeah.
Okay, on the lease, the government has leased you the land for 99 years.
Yes.
Along the way, there comes a need where maybe the county wants to develop the land, depending on the need. Does the county need to wait for the 99 years to develop the land, or the lease?
Or can they compensate you?
Yeah,
and
what
then
happens?
They go away with the land.
You know, all governments actually belongs to the government. Yeah, and
all land.
Yes, all land belongs to the government.
Even the one that is owned by individuals.
To some extent, yes. Yes, to some extent, because.
What do you mean, Wakili?
What I mean is that even where you have a freehold title,
yes,
if the government wants to take that property from you, as much as it is private property, there's a process of what we call compulsory acquisition of land. So the land belongs to you, yes, but the government has the right to compulsorily acquire that land from you.
An example is where maybe they want to put an installation.
A what? An
installation.
Yes, an installation. Maybe they want it for public use. They want to build a hospital. You've seen the case of roads. Yeah, a new road is passing through somewhere. It's passing through your land, so you are compensated. Okay. Yeah, on the portion which the government has taken. That's why I was saying all land actually belongs to the government, because they will come and tell you, okay, this is your land, but we want to use it for public use. We will compensate you. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, Mangicho, also, if your land, suppose your land, you are living on an oil or gold. Don't think that you are going to be rich in the next 2 weeks. Yes. It becomes a government property automatically. But Wakili, suppose I feel I don't want to be moved from there for some reasons. I say, no, you cannot move me from here for my own reasons. Can I defy?
So long as the due process has been followed, you cannot resist the government's need for that property. You cannot. Unless you have very good reasons.
The government interest supersedes an individual's interest.
Yes.
Because what I have heard, especially where there is a road passing by, is whereby the government wants to take the land, but where the government is taking me is lesser valuable compared to where I was. And therefore, sometimes you feel that there's no fair playing ground.
I don't know, the procedures which are followed when the process of compensation is being worked out. Yeah. You might be moving from a more lucrative place, but what they look at is the value of where you are moving from. If you're being moved from an acre in Milimani, currently an acre in Milimani is about what?
10 M?
No, it's much more than that.
Maybe 30.
Maybe 40, 50 million. So they'll either give you land valued at 50 million, or give you the 50 million and tell you you can go and look for land wherever you want it. Oh. I think you saw the case of the SGR.
Yeah.
It passed through
people's homes,
people's land, and they were actually compensated by the government. They were given cash.
Ah, yeah.
So that's you can go buy land wherever you want.
Yeah. So Wakili, still on the list before maybe we come to the freehold. Yes. So what is the procedure maybe of applying maybe when one now wants to lease a land from the government? And what would the government look into or consider before they approve and lease to you that particular land?
Most of this land, if it is a government land, there would be a decision that we want to settle people here. So they will identify those people, and then they will issue with letters of allotment. The land will be surveyed, put into the map, and then once the entire process is complete, you are then given the lease, which you register, and you're given a certificate of lease, which is now commonly known as the title. Oh. But that is why leasehold, you have a certificate of lease. Freehold, you have a title deed.
All right. Yeah. Before we move to the freehold, to be able to get the distinction, Mangicho, we can take a short break. When we're coming back, we're asking you, where do you think we need rapid land reforms? Where do you think we need rapid land reforms? Talk to us, 23814. Our SMS number, 0721-105-105. SMS number through WhatsApp. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we are more.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
At the pinnacle of education is High Peak Schools, a reputable institution for anyone looking to unlock their child's full potential. From early childhood education to our junior school, our experienced educators impact students with relevant knowledge and skills for them to soar high. From well-equipped classes to modern laboratories, peaceful dormitories, computer room, and a music room. Students partake in co-curricular activities like swimming, skating, and many more. Our nutritious diets are sourced from our school farms, and not forgetting purified water that is safe for consumption. We have a fleet of buses that are accessible to our students for comfortable transportation to and from school. To enroll your child, contact us through 0728 040 883. High Peak Schools, quest for excellence. As the year comes to a close, the Kamkunji business community invites you to join us for a day of gratitude and reflection. On Friday, December 1st, 2023 at 9 a.m., come and be part of the Kamkunji business community annual Thanksgiving Prayer Day. Our theme for this year's Thanksgiving Prayer Day is "It is God who arms me with strength and makes my way perfect," inspired by 2 Samuel 22 verses 23. We are honored to welcome Apostle John Keman William from Kingdom Seekers Fellowship Nakuru as our special guest speaker.
Your worship will manifest your greatness.
Join us as we come together in unity, expressing our gratitude for the blessings we have received throughout the year. Don't miss this opportunity to connect with your community, uplift your spirit, and give thanks.
You cannot rise in this life if you are not a worshiper.
Kamkunji Business Community Annual Thanksgiving Prayer Day on Friday, December 1st, 2023 at 9 a.m. Kamkunji, Nairobi, next to police station.
Sacho, Sacho, Sacho. Sacho.
My name is Worship Shekaina Manyange. What I love about Sacho High School are the teachers, the staff, the school administration. They go above and beyond to help us work our way through our growth. And I also love how Sacho is based on moral values.
Welcome to Sacho High School. Sacho High School is a mixed boarding school that is situated in Baringo Central Sub-County, very close to Kabarnet town. We have arranged transport during holidays when they break from their destinations to the school. This makes it possible and very easy for access to the school at any point.
All these contributes to stellar performances that sees us taking top national positions.
Bonjour, bienvenue. Ici, au lycée Sacho, on apprend le français pour être le meilleur dans le monde.
Extracurricular activities are not left out.
For spiritual nourishment and strong Christian character, Sacho High School is the place.
To contact us, call 0700 819 068 or get your slot by applying on www.sachohighschool.sc.ke. Sacho High School, be mindful of others.
We believe in the extraordinary potential of every child. That is why at Greengate Academy, our aim is to equip and transform learners. Our mission is to provide high-quality education in a conducive Christian environment.
Jesus in the heart.
Jesus in the heart.
Jesus in the
We
house.
have embraced the competency-based curriculum and have collaborated with our dedicated team of experienced educators to mine your child's potential by imparting them with relevant skills. We have incorporated a special needs program that is tailored to ensure continuous improvement for your child. Here, we encourage creativity by engaging them in co-curriculum activities like sports, games, and maximizing on digital literacy through innovation. We are keen on your child's health, thus providing nutritious meals. Transport-wise, we've got you covered. Discover the unlimited opportunities awaiting your child today. Contact us on 0702 730 987 or email us on greengateschools@gmail.com. Enroll your child today and let their journey of a lifetime begin. Greengate Academy, raising the standard.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Yes, you are welcome back, and you are still watching us right here on the Mid-Morning Park. Of course, you know, when it is on Tuesday, it is all about legal matters. That is why we call it Legal Tuesday and everything in between, so that at least you can be enlightened on matters law. Maybe you are dealing with one thing or another, and it is important for you to find out. It is important for you to also be in a position to know what does the law say. And of course, today we are looking at land and property laws. Of course, even as we were starting, we said that land is an emotive subject in the country. So many people have actually fallen victims. We have even the most recent cases. So many people are aware about the Sokimau land issue. So many people are aware about other areas where people have actually fallen victims into some of these land cases. So we are here today so that at least you can be in a position to find out what are some of the key aspects that are very crucial for you to identify. Of course, on set, we also have Wakili Wilfred Konosi helping us to get into the details of these. And maybe before I come back to you, Kagi, on the other area that we want to look at, still on the lease, Wakili, what about for those who want to do businesses? Can you also get, or can the government lease land for business purposes?
Not quite. What we're talking about here, about the government leasing land to you, what the government is saying is that this is government land, but we are leasing it to you under certain conditions, like payment of the annual rent. Like here in Nakuru, if you look at most properties within town, those are leasehold properties.
Okay.
Yeah. So you lease from the government. It's actually a property. So you can build, carry on business. You can have tenants there. But you are a leasee from the government for the period which is indicated in the lease. Yeah. But I think I understand your question. You cannot say that I'm now leasing land from the government, say for 5 years, I do business, then I go away. Where we have those kind of leases is where, like, say, a corporation like Kenya Railways has land which has been allocated to them, and they can lease
for those
that property to you to use for a specific period. So those are two different types of
of leases.
Yeah.
For the government and the one for the corporates.
Yes, corporates and even individuals.
Wow.
Yeah.
So depending on what you as an owner want to do with this particular land, you'll be in a position to know whether you want to lease it from government or from these corporates.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, maybe you have leased your land from the government, and along the way, can there be something that can make you to now legally own that land?
So that it's yours now forever.
It's yours forever, yeah.
Yes, and no. Because of what I explained earlier. Yeah. All land belongs to the government. We have a process called conversion. You can convert land from leasehold to freehold. So technically, when you've converted the land, you stop paying land rent to the government. So this becomes your property. You own it forever. You know, it can devolve to your children and your grandchildren. But like as I mentioned earlier, the government can still take that property if it wants it. On the issue of leases, again, you are given a lease for a specified period, say 99 years. So even if you die before the 99 years end, that property can devolve to your children or to your beneficiaries. Yeah. At the end of the lease, whoever who will be registered as the lessee will apply for renewal of that lease. And maybe I should just clarify that even leasehold property can be transferred. I can, for instance, buy leasehold property which you have and transfer it into my name.
Okay.
But you have to get consent of the government. That Mangicho now, we gave him this leasehold. He's transferring his leasehold interest to Wilfred Konosi. That is permissible. But the bottom line is the land still belongs to the government. It's only the lessee
that have
who has changed. Yeah.
And maybe before we go to the next one, Wakili, I'm trying to reason how can a foreigner acquire land in Kenya, particularly in Kenya?
Yes.
Can he or she acquire land, like completely own a land in this country, or maybe in the formation of the lease?
Yes, under the Constitution and the Land Registration Act, under certain conditions, a foreigner can own land, but leasehold land only, not freehold. And it has to be for a period of 99 years.
Right.
So that is permissible. So as a foreigner, you can own land. You've seen like the coastal region, there are many foreigners who own land in the coastal region of Kenya. Malindi, the Italians.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
There are quite a number of foreigners who own land in the coast area.
I'm trying to bring my mind back to the days of independence, Mangicho. And you know, that time there are many Europeans, the Britons,
yes,
owned a lot of land in Kenya. Which categories are they? Are they in the 999 or 199?
They are in the category of 999.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe something I need to mention here is that before the 2010 Constitution, we had so many acts governing land.
Yeah.
We had what we call the Government Land Act, Land Titles Act, Registration of Titles Act, Land Control Board Act, Land Registration Act. But after the 2010 Constitution, all those land laws were revised, and we now have three or four.
Oh.
We have the Land Registration Act,
yeah,
the Land Titles Act, Community Land Act, and we retained the Land Control Act. Yeah, so those are the four acts now which govern land. So before 2010, before we revised our laws, those 999 leases were normally issued under the land registration, land title, land registration. Not land. What am I forgetting this name? The RTA, Registration of Titles Act.
Oh.
Yeah. So that one was also leasehold, but for a period of 999 years. But what the government is doing currently is that if you go to subdivide, they reduce that period to 99.
Okay.
So if you don't, you still have your lease for the 999 years.
Wow. This is very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. As we continue, Wakili, can we now shift to the freehold? Yeah.
Yeah, freeholder. Freeholder is land which a person owns under the registered. Under earlier it was under the Registered Land Act, but now, of course, we have consolidated the. We have consolidated the land laws.
Yeah.
It is now owned under the Land Registration Act. Like I said, the difference between the two is that when you have freehold land, you are issued with a title deed, as opposed to where you have leasehold, you are issued with a certificate of lease. And then where you have a title deed, you do not pay land rent to the government, because that property belongs to you absolutely. Of course, with that rider that the government is the absolute owner of the land. It can take it to you upon fulfilling the conditions laid down by the law. Yeah.
So when you talk about freehold now, we are talking about this a situation whereby any individual, when they want maybe to have land voluntarily, they can buy it maybe from other individuals. Maybe we see people moving into different places, different areas, different towns, purchasing land. Can we say those ones are purchased on freehold?
No, land is normally zoned. There is a zone which is for leasehold. There is a zone which is for freehold.
Okay.
You remember I mentioned that you can convert from leasehold to freehold. Like in Nakuru, if you look at properties in Ingata area, they were formerly leasehold.
Okay.
But slowly, some people have converted them into freehold.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is possible. There's a process. There's a procedure to be followed. Yeah.
Could there be anybody who is on a freehold or owning a land, but is not paying government anything, or has never paid government anything? Maybe because of nature of...
Maybe be a little bit clear. How can you stay on land without paying the government? If it's freeholder, there's nothing you pay to the government.
Yeah.
You are the absolute owner. But if it's leaseholder, you pay to the government. Of course, we have these levies now which are levied by the county governments.
Yes.
We call them what? Rates. To help counties generate money, even freehold land, they levy some little nominal fees as land rates. Yeah, within the county. Yeah.
Let's talk about the forest land. Who owns this land, and do they have titles?
Yes. and when you talk about forest land, because I was also coming to that, Kagi, maybe Wakili can also tell us, is forest land also related to community land? I actually heard him also mention about community land. Where is the interlink?
Forest land is public land. It belongs to the government. Yeah.
Oh, maybe later on we are going to have a question after we get the Vox of Mangicho on the types of land to be able to understand more. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, and maybe we come back to like where we have some public utilities. Do they pay anything? Like schools, hospitals, markets?
No, they don't.
They don't?
Yeah, no, they don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that is land which is being used for a public purpose. Yeah.
Okay. I think at this juncture, before we come to types of land in Kenya, we want to play a vox pop by Honorable Anne Amadi, whose tenure is coming to an end in January. And what she said, I think 2 days ago, as she is preparing to exit the registrar of the chief registrar, I think we'll be able to analyze what she said and more about this office.
10 years ago, I found 119 judges of the superior courts. The number had stood at 53 at the promulgation of the Constitution, and today we have 189. judges, an increase by a factor of about 4 since August 2010. 10 years ago, we had 463 judicial officers. These are magistrates, caddies. This number now stands at 636. In that period, the total staff establishment grew by 54%, from 4,326 to 6,643. Thanks to the recruitment of all additional judges, magistrates, tribunal members, chairpersons, and judicial staff. I'm grateful to the Judicial Service Commission for making this happen. I know what it takes to recruit even one judge. I see 2 commissioners here, other than the Honorable the Chief Justice, Commissioner Njeru, Commissioner Oluwande. Please just stand up so we can acknowledge you. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you so much for the support that I have received from the Judicial Service Commission. In terms of court expansion, we have been able to expand our physical presence across the country. Just as an example, in 2014, we had just about 20 High Court stations. Today, we have 45. We had 1 Court of Appeal station. Today, we have 5. We also have another 10 employment and labor relations courts and 10 sub-registries. We have 38 environment and land court stations. Following the enactment of the Small Claims Court Act in 2016, we have established and operationalized 13 small claims courts and facilitated the transition of 23 tribunals from the executive.
Right, welcome back, and we're asking you today, where do you think we need rapid reforms? To be specific, land reforms. Where do you think we need rapid land reforms in Kenya? You can text on 23814 or 0721105105. Or maybe you have any query regarding to land to Wakili here, Wilfred Konosi. You can be posting that question via the number 23814 or 0721105105. He is an advocate of a high court. Wakili, the registrar, chief registrar,
yes,
is retiring after 10 years in office. And maybe we are asking ourselves, what is the importance of our office?
In simple terms, she is the administrator of the judiciary. She handles administrative matters. And we only have 1 chief registrar, and of course other registrars below her. So she handles matters dealing with the administration within the judiciary. That is why you heard her talking about the establishment of the number of courts, the number of magistrates, the number of staff they had when she joined, and when she is now exiting.
By the virtue of her office, does he attend court proceedings?
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't?
No, she does not. She's not a judge. She does administrative work.
Yes, but very instrumental when it comes to swearing in?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because she's, I think
she
many
was
people remember
Uhuru's time and also Ruto's time.
And, and you remember when...
That's a very high office.
Yes, it is.
She has talked a lot about the reforms in her 10 years office, maybe in your corridors of service. Have you seen some reforms in the judiciary, maybe in our courts?
No, quite a lot. Like so she mentioned, after the 2010 constitution, you remember we had Justice Mutunga,
yes,
who came in and did quite a bit of reform within the judiciary. The salaries were very low. They were improved. There was limited access to justice. Court stations have been expanded. Like if I remember what she said, like now we have 45 high courts
the whole country.
Yeah, in the whole country.
Yeah, that's a good number.
So there's been a lot of expansion. The creation of the Employment and Labor Relations Court, the creation of the Environment and Land Court, the creation of the Small Claims Court. So there's been a lot of reform.
Before you continue, I'm interested with the Small Claims Court.
Yeah.
What are they?
The Small Claims Court that act was passed to deal with small claims of less than $1 million. It was discovered that cases take too long in our courts, and so they said, look, to make sure that we expedite the process of these small claims, which are holding a lot of money within the economy, let's come up with what we call the Small Claims Court Act. So the court, there's an act governing the court. So under that act, once you file a case, that case is supposed to be heard and finalized within 60 days. So that is the importance of the Small Claims Court.
Those cases.
So long as the amount is not more than 1 million.
What is this amount? Is it a fine?
No, the value of what you are claiming. If you owe me $1 million bob and less, I go to the Small Claims Court. Okay. If I get injured, if you knock me with your vehicle, and I think what I'm likely to get in compensation is less than $1 million, I file the case in the Small Claims Court. Yeah.
Are they an independent entity of the court, or are they under any court, like Magistrate Court or maybe High Court?
No, they are an independent entity. That's why I said they are governed by the Small Claims Court Act. There's an act governing them.
And they have a specific judge there?
We call them adjudicators.
Oh, adjudicators.
Yeah, they are adjudicators in each of those courts.
Again, we dig deeper, Mangicho. Who is this adjudicator?
They are lawyers.
They are lawyers?
Yeah, they are lawyers who are appointed. They are like magistrates. It's only that we call them adjudicators, because if you are satisfied with the decision of the adjudicator, you file an appeal to either the High Court, Employment and Labor Relations Court, or the Environment and Land Court. Of course, depending on the type of the dispute which took you there in the first place.
And they're supposed to take very short time?
Yeah, within 60 days. The case should be determined within 60 days.
Wow.
From inception to conclusion.
This one attracts another question, Wakili. The issue of the backlog. How is it so far?
That's a very tricky question. All I can tell you is that I know the judiciary is working hard to clear the backlog of cases. For instance, if I can give you the story of, say, the Court of Appeal, we are currently hearing cases of, I think, 2017, 2018, appeals filed in 2017, 2018.
Up to date.
Yes, they have not been heard. But like I mentioned, the judiciary is trying very hard to deal with backlogs. That is why now in the Court of Appeal they have adopted a no adjournment policy. If a matter is fixed, unless for good reasons,
no adjournment.
No adjournment, it has to go on. So that is the only way they can be able to deal with the issue of backlog. Same with the other courts. It's very hard these days to get an adjournment once your matter is fixed for hearing.
That's why I saw Jenga's case was being heard in like 3 consecutive days or something.
On a day-to-day basis. Yeah, those are criminal cases, but there's a policy that cases should be fast-tracked.
Finally, before I give Mangicho, maybe the issue of adding more judges and magistrates, can it ease the backlog?
Yes, it is. It is, definitely. If you saw, was it, I think about 2 months ago, they advertised for 20 positions of judges to deal with the issue of backlog.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, I think so far so good for that. Maybe we can go, Kage, maybe to the types of land.
Yes. Types of land. I think, Wakili, if you're set, you can tell us the types of land.
We have what we call public land. We have public land. we have community land,
yes,
and we have private land. These are actually provided for under the Constitution. Public land is provided for under Article 62 of the Constitution. And this includes land which was unalienated. That means land which the government has not allocated to somebody and issued them with a certificate of lease. So we call that unalienated land.
Unalienated.
So, yeah, it's not alienated. Land being used by state organs. Land transferred to the state by way of surrender. You know, like if you are given a lease, you can surrender it back to the government.
Yes.
So once you surrender your title, the land goes back to land. Or land between high and low watermarks, or rivers, lakes, water bodies, all roads, all parks, all forests, mineral and mineral oils that belong to land.
Public schools, institutions like
yes,
public
institutions.
Okay.
Land which is not individual or community, then that qualifies
to be a public land.
Be public land. So the list is actually given in Article 62 of the Constitution.
All right.
Yeah. Then we have what we call community land that is provided for under Article 63 of the Constitution, and this is land held by communities. A good example is the Maasai community. Yeah, we used to have what we call trust land. Yeah, land held under trust. They hold very fast acreage of land.
Yeah.
So that qualifies to be community land. And community land does not include public land or private land. Yeah, because that land belongs to the community. Like in
so when talking about community, are we talking about ethnic communities, or what kind of community?
Mostly they are ethnic communities. Yeah, but you can have other communities which are not ethnic.
For example, can we have like business community?
No. These are ethnic communities. They can't be business communities owning community land.
Religious communities?
No. So that like in community land, in Narok and those areas, Narok, Kajiado, we used to have what we call group ranches.
Okay.
Yeah? So the group ranches, that land, if it's registered in the name of a group ranch, it belongs to the community. But there's a way they then dissolve those group ranches and allocate properties to the members of the ranch. Then it now ceases to be community land. It becomes private land. Yeah. And then, of course, the last category is, I think this is under Article 64, is a private land.
Okay. Maybe before we go to private, like for example, when talking about the community land, in relation to the Ogek community, you know, we've been having a lot of information and a lot of news about the Ogek, whereby they are terming the land that maybe they've been living in as community land. But of course, we've also had cases whereby maybe, I think they've also been said to be living in forest, maybe which is a public or a government property. I don't know how you'd look at that, okay?
If you look at the Ogek case, they actually settled in the forests, which is a community, which is a public land. They cannot claim that where they're settled, that is community land, because they are in the forests. And if you look at the provisions of Article 62, forests fall under
public
land. And you know we have boundaries over forests, like Menengai. Yeah, there's a cut-off area. Yeah, where they tell you this is now the boundary. From here, this is forest land. This is private land. But you've seen again when the government wants to allocate forest land, they degassette it as a forest. Then they can now allocate it to individuals, either by way of leasehold or freehold. Yeah.
So when I own my own land, it's now called a private land?
Yeah, it's a private land where you have either a title deed or a certificate of lease. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we have many lakes in the country. The question is, there's a guy who is really troubling me here. Where the lake is it a land or is it a vacuum? And who owns that?
Like Nakuru?
Yes. Like Turkana, like Bogoria, like Victoria. Who owns that land?
You see, that begs the question, what is land? It's the surface, what is above it, and what is below it. That is why when you're building your house, yes, you can go to how many stories? 10, 11. That is still your property.
Nobody is supposed to come and occupy you.
Yeah, it is your property because it's standing on your property, but it has gone up to the air that on within the boundaries of your property.
Okay. If you go to other countries, maybe it's not within Kenya's jurisdiction. There are countries where, like even Netherlands, even Japan and China, they build cities on water. If today I decide to build maybe a city on Lake Victoria or maybe Indian Ocean, can I go and do it?
No, you can't. You can't, for the simple reason that is a government land. But if you have good reasons, the government can lease a portion of it and tell you, okay, you want to build something here, we'll give you a lease for a particular period. Yeah. Yes.
And maybe swampy areas?
That is government land. Yeah. That is why if you see people whose land extends to the river, you have actually more acreage than what is on the title, because part of that which includes the swampy area is considered part of the river and hence government land.
All right, we'll continue after there. So far so good, Wakili. But in our part for landmark ruling, we have a small feature on the landmark by the Supreme Court in Kenya decision about the investigating your property titles between the Supreme Court and the Dyna Management Limited versus County Government of Mombasa. So you can be able to watch this feature. When we come back, we shall be looking at it.
Landmark Supreme Court of Kenya decision, investigate your property titles. The Supreme Court of Kenya has recently handed down a groundbreaking judgment in the case of Dyna Management Limited versus County Government of Mombasa and 5 others, petition number 8 A010 of 2021. This ruling has major implications for property investors and stakeholders in Kenya and sets a precedent in relation to due diligence in property transactions. In 2017, the county government of Mombasa took action against Dyna Management Limited, claiming that its beachfront property registered was public land and not private land. The county government of Mombasa went so far as to forcefully enter and demolish the entire perimeter wall facing the beachfront and flattened the entire property. A series of legal proceedings unfolded, eventually ending up in the Supreme Court of Kenya, whose decision ultimately settled the matter. In its decision issued on 21st April 2023, the Supreme Court upheld the earlier decisions of the Environment and Land Court and the Court of Appeal. It ruled that Dyna's alienation of the beach property, which was designated for public use, was unprocedural and unlawful to the extent that the property blocked existing access to the beach. The court affirmed that the property was public land reserved for public utility and the property could therefore not be subsequently sold as private property. The Supreme Court also upheld that even the initial allocation and issuance of the beach property title to the late His Excellency Daniel T. Arap Moi was irregular. Because of this, no valid legal interest could pass to subsequent purchasers of the property, including Dinah. The Supreme Court emphasized that bona fide purchasers have the responsibility to substantiate the validity and legality of the acquired property title. Just being in possession of a title document does not automatically qualify a party as a bona fide purchaser when the root of the title is challenged. So, what does the ruling mean for property purchasers? 1. The doctrine of bona fide purchasers for value does not apply where the root of the title is challenged. 2. Where the procedure of the initial acquisition of a title is deemed unprocedural or unlawful, all subsequent transfers of the title are considered invalid as no legal or equitable interest is deemed to have passed the land. And 3. Buyers are required to conduct a full investigation into the title to ensure that there is good root to the title, to ensure that the legal and equitable interest of the property is valid.
All right, welcome back, and Wakili, I hope you have followed that small feature. I don't want to dwell so much on the property because we have a full topic on that in our subsequent programs. But what can we learn out of this ruling?
Very simple. The mere fact that I have a title does not mean that I'm the real owner.
Yes.
You need to investigate the root of that title. Like, remember what I mentioned earlier? Try to find out the history.
Yeah.
How was it allocated? Was the proper procedure followed? Because what the ruling is saying, if the procedure followed was not proper, then even if I have a title actually issued by the government, I cannot transfer it to any other party because I did not acquire any rightful legal interest, which I can then transfer to another person. So that is why the courts now say, go to the root of the title. If this property was allocated, was there, like say, you allocated land which was formerly a forest, you need to go back and find out, was the process of degazetting this forest so that it's available for allocation, was it proper? If it was not proper, then whichever titles which arise from that allocation are illegal and of no effect.
Yeah.
So, for purchasers, don't take the title as proof of ownership. Before the 2010 Constitution, we had that holding that a title, the sanctity of the title, yeah? Once you have a title, it cannot be challenged. So what the Supreme Court was doing here, it was saying, no, we are going beyond there. We need to investigate the root of this title to see how it was acquired. So even you as a person, before you purchase property, investigate the title.
All right.
Yeah.
And maybe just one more. So what do you think, Wakili, could be the mechanisms that maybe need to be put into place to ensure a smooth process, maybe of even going beyond the looking into the title?
A very interesting question. Who is the keeper of the records? The government.
The government, sure.
And all of us know that those records are in shambles. Currently, we are undergoing the process of digitization. They are digitizing the records, where your land, your title is scanned, you're verified as the owner, and even before somebody does a search on your property, it will alert you on your phone that so-and-so is trying to do a search on your property. And if you know him, you give access. Yeah.
Also, it's something that at least it can be.
It's trying to address.
An alert will come to you. So that kind of transformation from the manual processes to digital can actually help in solving some of these problems.
It will. Of course, it has its own challenges, but at least it will ameliorate the kind of problems which we are facing now. Yeah.
Wow. And that would be very good for us to be able to look into. Maybe just before I come back to Kagi, now, I know maybe most of our viewers maybe are looking at, are watching us and they're wondering, what do you need? Is it the government that now will come and maybe enable you to have this particular process put into place? Or what is the role now of maybe landowners in terms of getting this particular information to be digitized?
No, you've seen them announcing. They have actually started with Nairobi. They'll tell you we are digitizing records for this area.
Okay.
So there's a process which is followed for digitization. Of course, even now, they know who is the owner of the land. So they verify you are the owner, they take your details, your ID card number, your phone number, your box number, then those records are digitized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Mangicho, I don't think today, do we have any legal terminology?
Of course, we cannot miss legal terminology on this particular show. And we also have, again, terminology that we've prepared for you today, especially relating to this particular conversation or relating to this particular subject. And that is, the term is caveat. I've pronounced it well, caveat, which means a warning or something said is a warning. Therefore, if there is a caveat on the property, whoever wants to perform any kind of dealing, either like buy, sell, lease out, or anything, is made aware of the fact that someone else already has interest in that land. So that was what we mean when you talk about caveat. And of course, just like I've said, it means a warning, or something said is a warning. Of course, therefore, if there is a caveat on our property, whoever wants to perform any kind of dealing, like buy, sell, lease out, or anything, is made aware of the fact that someone else already has interest in that particular land. Wakili, maybe to dig deeper when you talk about this particular term caveat.
Okay. Before the 2015 land reforms, you would actually register a caveat on somebody's title. And as you brutally put it, is to warn you that this land belongs to somebody else, or I am claiming an interest in this land.
So it is the court that puts the caveat?
No. It's a person.
It's a person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if the title is in your name and I am claiming an interest, before 2015, I would register a caveat and say, look, I am claiming an interest in this land.
Okay.
So nobody would be able to deal with that land. You cannot be able to sell it because I'm claiming an interest, unless you deal with my issue first. But now, come 2015, under the Land Registration Act, we have 3 instruments which you can register to encumber land. Number 1 is what we call a caution. That is where, again, somebody is claiming interest in land, maybe as a purchaser or a beneficiary, or, I mean, any kind of interest. The other one is what we call an inhibition. Yeah, an inhibition. This is normally placed by the court or the land registrar. If a land registrar thinks that there is fraud being committed on a certain title, they can inhibit any dealings
on
that land, either for a particular period or until something happens. Or if I go to court, we are having a tussle over land with you, the court will say, look, for us to preserve the property, I'm going to place an inhibition on this title so that nobody can deal with that land until we have had resolve the dispute. The third one is what we call a restriction.
Okay.
Yeah. A person can apply to the land registrar to restrict any dealings of on that land, depending on the interests they are claiming. So all those 3 can actually be termed as collectively as some form of caveat. Yeah, it's giving you a warning that there's a problem with this title.
Don't undertake any process
before you deal with it.
Kagi, there you go. That is caveat.
Just a small, maybe 30 seconds, Wakili.
Yes.
When you are putting this caveat, is it in form of a documentation to the land office, or maybe you put a notice on the land?
No. It's a document which is registered in the lands office.
Yeah.
We have actually forms which you fill, put your photograph, attach your PIN, attach your copy of your ID, and state clearly the interest. Why are you putting the caveats? And then it's actually registered on the title. There are, of course, conditions which you must fulfill before any of those instruments can be registered. If it is an inhibition which has been given by the court, that order is extracted, and you go and register that order in the lands registry, so that if anybody is doing a search on that property, they'll see that there is what we call an encumbrance. The title is encumbered. Yeah.
Very well. This juncture, we want to look at our Inside the Law today. Dear viewer, if you want to know the process of buying land in Kenya, I have a very summarized formula on how you can be able to buy land in Kenya. Number one, make sure that you identify where you want to buy land. Before you do any transaction, you can go on the ground, identify where you want to buy your land. Number two, undertake search in the Ministry of Land offices. We have heard with the Wakili that after you have identified where you want to buy your land, may you undertake search in the ministry. You go to the ministry with a title and do a search to be able to identify if it is okay. Number three, after that, you can be able to purchase the land maps. And these land maps, you can get them from the land offices and even from the neighbors to be able to identify where is the land. Number two, to be able to identify who are the neighbors of that land and are the land numbers agreeing. After that, you can visit the land on the ground accompanied with surveyor and seller, the three of you. The surveyor to be able to identify the beacons out there, and also to be able to verify the land is okay, and also there's someone who is selling land, so that if you have any question regarding to that land, it can be answered in presence of the surveyor. Number five, make all transactions in writing. Anytime that you are purchasing land, any transaction that you are making, do it in writing, and it is advisable all the time when you are doing any transaction in writing, may you have a lawyer who is going to guide you on any legal challenges. Number six, pay the seller, but ensure title is with your lawyer. Once you are making any payment, do not pay your land when the title is still in the pocket of the seller. Make sure the title is with your lawyer. And I think this Wakili are going to tell us later on whether it is my lawyer or the seller's lawyer or the lawyer for both of us. Number seven, now you can be able to make the land transfer with the guidance of your lawyer. And finally, pay a stamp duty and transfer fees. You know, this land was not yours before. It was owned by someone else. At this juncture, when you have, you want it to be yours, you go and pay the transfer fees from the person who sold you the land to become your land. And finally, after a week, after you have bought your land, after a week, go back to the ministry offices, the land ministry offices, to do another search to verify the land was transferred to you and you are the legal owner of that land. And that is the process of buying land in Kenya. Yes, Wakili. Maybe one question.
Yes.
When we're talking about a lawyer, whereby we are depositing our title deed as the transaction is going on, whose lawyer is this? The seller, the buyer, or is a dual lawyer?
We have two kinds of scenarios. We have scenarios where a lawyer, let me call them an advocate, I think that's the right term, where an advocate is acting for both the vendor and the purchaser. So that means both parties are using one advocate. then that advocate should be able to guide them and tell them, you will deposit the title in my office as we go through the transaction. So, of course, they have to have trust in you. That makes the buyer comfortable that even if I'm dealing with the seller, the title has been deposited with the advocates. And again, as an advocate, we do not normally rely on searches done by parties because of the reasons which I explained earlier. Yes. It is important that even if you have come to me and told me we have this land which we are selling and buying, you also need to carry out an independent search and actually confirm the status of that property before you write the sale agreement. Because somebody can come with a search which has been manufactured. Yeah? Okay. Even the maps which you mentioned, make sure you buy these maps from the survey office. Like here in Nakuru, we have them at the PC's office. Yeah. I'll give you an example of a case which I dealt with. Somebody was taking a loan from the bank, and he was using a title of a property. So the client brought him a map which had a fake stamp. When he used that map and went to visit the land, there was actually a building on that property. And of course the value was much higher. This man got the loan and defaulted. When the bank was now trying to recover the money, they sent another valuer. Lo and behold, there is no building on this land. So the title was overvalued and somebody took more money against the value of the title. The valuer was actually taken to court and he was made to pay. Yeah. Okay. Our time is far much gone, Wakili. Yes. Mangicho, do we have the profile for the day?
Yeah, we have a profile, but maybe Kagi, I know for the interest of time, but those processes, maybe when we are having this program again next week, maybe we look into those stages, those processes each, and see maybe what is it that most of us maybe get wrong, right? In the entire process.
Quite in order.
Yes. But of course, we have the legal profile that we prepared for you for today, and our focus on the legal profile will be Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu. Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu, of course, the Deputy Chief Justice, born in 1957 in Makueni County. In 1984, graduated from the University of Nairobi. 1984 to 1991, of course, also worked in the Mudhoga company, and of course Mudhoga Gaturu Company Advocates. 1991 to 1997, Jubilee Insurance Company Limited, Board of Secretary, Electricity Regulatory Board, that is 1999 to 2001. She was the Director, Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company in 2007. That is in 2007 as a Director, Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company. And of course, again in 2007, she joined the Judiciary Commercial Division of the High Court in Eldoret. 2012, she was the head of Environment and Land Division. Then come 2012, she was elevated to the Court of Appeal. 2016, nominated and confirmed as the Deputy Chief Justice. Then in 2017, first time sitting in a presidential election petition in the Supreme Court. And the same year, among Supreme Court judges that annulled former President Uhuru's election. That is a brief profile of Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu, the Deputy Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Wakili, any word about Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu?
I think the most interesting thing is that for the first time, we are having both the Chief Justice
and the Deputy
Chief Justice being ladies.
Yes.
And I think that now makes the Supreme Court to be the gender balance compliant.
Wow.
You remember the first Supreme Court, people went to court and said, look, you are not complying with the third rule principle. And of course, they were overruled. Maybe that is what informed the elevation of Martha Koome to the position of Chief Justice. Maybe it would have been one of the many considerations which they considered. Yeah.
All right, time is up. Maybe we want to thank Wakili for finding time to come.
Yes.
God willing, next week we shall be digging deeper on these matters. It's a very wide topic.
Yeah.
We shall be helping our audience to be able to identify more about the buying land in Kenya. Thank you so much for watching MBCI TV, Mid-Morning Park Legal Tuesday. My name is Paul Kagi, wishing you a blessed day ahead.
And of course, I'm Mangicho Mola. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be having you again tomorrow for the Leadership Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.